The sky was dark and heavy, hanging low over the barren land. Ash fell like snow, and the wind carried a cold, biting chill. Mira walked slowly, her hands shaking, her face pale with grief. She carried nothing but a small, worn blanket. In her arms there was no weight, only the emptiness of loss. She stopped at a small patch of dirt, a place she had chosen herself. Her hands began to dig. The soil was hard, packed from years of neglect, but she didn't stop. Her fingers tore into it, dragging up clods of earth, as if she could bury the pain itself. Tears ran down her cheeks, mixing with the dirt on her hands. "Forgive me. I couldn't save you," she whispered, her voice breaking. Her words disappeared into the wind. Mira's heart ached with a pain so deep it felt like it could swallow her whole. The world had not been kind, and she had no one to help her. She was alone, completely alone. As she dug, she remembered the day her child was born. A tiny, fragile life, full of hope and laughter. Now that hope felt gone. The streets were empty. Buildings were ruined. People were gone. Only silence remained. And now she would bury the last piece of her heart. Mira dug faster. Each scoop of dirt felt heavier than the last. Her arms burned, but she didn't care. She couldn't stop. She reached into her coat and took out a small blanket. She imagined placing her baby inside, holding it close one last time. Her lips trembled. Her chest felt tight, like the air itself had been stolen from her lungs. Then she paused. For a moment she thought she heard something, a faint sound like a soft whimper. Her eyes widened. She froze, but the wind blew and it was gone. She shook her head, telling herself it was just her imagination. She couldn't allow hope. Hope had left her long ago. Mira returned to her task. She dug until the hole was deep enough. She laid the blanket on the ground, imagining her child was there. She whispered words of apology and love, her voice soft, trembling, almost lost in the wind. Each word felt like a dagger in her chest, cutting deeper than the last dot. As she placed her hands on the dirt, ready to cover it, a strange feeling crawled along her skin. Goosebumps rose. A faint glow flickered nearby, almost like a spark. Mira looked around. There was nothing. Just the gray ash, the ruined buildings, and the empty streets. Still, the feeling didn't leave. Her heart beat faster, an uneasy rhythm. She could not explain. She began to cover the blanket with dirt, her movements slow, methodical. With each shovelful, she whispered, "I love you. I'm sorry." Her tears fell freely now, mixing with the soil. She did not notice the shadow that moved behind a ruined wall, watching her. A figure, silent, careful, unseen. Mira finished. She placed the last handful of dirt on the blanket. She stood, exhausted, her hands trembling. The wind howled around her, carrying whispers of sorrow. She turned away, her back heavy with grief. She did not look back. She could not, but the child she thought was gone was not alone. Eyes wide and bright blinked beneath the soil. Small hands moved slightly, almost imperceptibly. Somewhere in the shadows, a figure stepped closer, watching, waiting. The tragedy was not complete, yet the night was colder than Mira had ever felt. The wind cut through the ruined streets like a blade. She walked away from the grave, her shoulders heavy, her heart heavier. She did not notice the faint glow in the distance, a soft pulsing light that seemed almost alive, beneath the dirt. A small movement stirred. Tiny hands pushed against the soil, scratching at the blanket. The baby gasped, barely breathing, but alive. Somewhere, unseen, someone or something was watching, waiting for the right moment to act. A figure emerged from the shadows. It was not like Mira, not like anyone she had ever seen. Its movements were precise, almost unnatural. The glow came from its suit, a thin layer of shimmering material that seemed alive, shifting and changing with every step. It knelt near the baby, careful not to disturb the soil too much. The figure touched the ground with gloved hands, and the dirt began to move as if it had its own will. Slowly, almost gently, the baby was lifted from the grave. The tiny body shivered, wrapped in the figure's hands, but it was safe. The baby's eyes opened, wide and bright, and the figure smiled, though its face was hidden behind a visor. The child's small fingers curled around the figure's gloved hand. Something deep and unexplainable passed between them, a spark of life, of connection. Above them, Mira had stopped walking. A strange feeling made her turn back, almost like a whisper in her mind. She saw nothing but darkness, yet she paused. Her heart pounded. Something had changed, though she did not understand what. She did not know her child was alive. The figure moved quickly now, carrying the baby toward a narrow alley. Every step was careful, every movement calculated. The streets were dangerous. The ruins were not empty. Shadows moved, shapes that had no name watching, waiting. The figure's sensors scanned constantly, a faint hum coming from the suit. It detected threats Mira could not even imagine. The baby began to cry softly. The sound was almost human, fragile, and the figure adjusted its grip, rocking the child gently. A small device on the suit emitted a soft light, soothing the baby instantly. Its tiny body relaxed, and the figure continued walking. Suddenly, a distant sound shattered the silence, a scraping like metal against stone. The figure froze, its visor lit up, scanning the darkness. Something was coming. Something fast, but it did not panic. Its movements were precise, calm, efficient. The baby was tucked safely against its chest. Mira, still unaware, continued her slow walk home. She could not stop thinking about the loss. Every step echoed in the empty streets. Every shadow seemed to whisper sorrow. She did not notice the tiny footprints behind her, left by the figure as it moved. The figure reached a hidden entrance, almost invisible against the ruined wall. With a swipe of its hand, a panel slid open, revealing a small room filled with light and warmth. Inside, the baby was placed gently on a soft surface. The figure knelt, examining the child carefully. Its hands moved with skill, checking every breath, every pulse. The baby cooed softly, eyes wide and alert. The figure's visor reflected the tiny face. Somewhere deep inside, there was a recognition, an understanding. This child had a chance, a future, a purpose. Outside, the wind continued to howl. Mira's shadow disappeared into the night, carrying grief like a cloak. She did not know her child had been saved. She did not know a life that seemed lost was now protected by a force she could not imagine, and yet, in the quiet room, the baby's small fingers reached for the figure's visor, as if sensing the protection, the hope. A silent promise was made, a promise that the tragedy was only the beginning. Something far greater was coming. The city had fallen silent. Broken buildings leaned like tired giants, their windows empty, eyes staring into the gray sky. Mira walked alone, her boots crunching on cracked concrete. Every shadow seemed to follow her. Every gust of wind whispered memories she wished she could forget. She carried no blanket this time, no baby, only the emptiness of her heart. She paused at a ruined fountain, water long dried up, and stared at the cracked stone. A soft sob escaped her lips. She could still feel the weight of the child she thought she had lost. She whispered the baby's name, though no one was there to hear. Far above, hidden on a collapsed rooftop, the figure watched her. The baby slept safely in a small glowing cradle strapped to its chest. Mira did not know, could not know. The figure scanned the streets below, its sensors humming softly. Danger lurked everywhere, stray drones, scavengers, creatures of the new world. It was not safe. Not for the baby, and not for Myra. The figure moved silently, shadows swallowing its form as it navigated the rubble. Its mission was simple: keep the child alive until the mother could be reunited. But the world had changed. It was no longer enough to survive. Every step required caution, strategy, calculation. Mira began searching the empty streets for any sign, any clue, anything that might lead her to her child. She did not know what she expected: hope, a miracle, perhaps just the illusion of it. Her eyes scanned every corner, every pile of debris. The city was hostile, yet familiar. She remembered hiding places, secret paths she once knew as a child. Herself, meanwhile, the figure encountered the first threat. A scavenger, armed and desperate, patrolled the street ahead. Its sensors glowed faintly, detecting the intruder before the intruder could see it. With a flick of its hand, the figure activated a cloaking device. It melted into the shadows, carrying the baby clothes. The scavenger passed, unaware of the life moving silently above it. The figure paused near an old library, its glass windows shattered, pages fluttering in the wind. It crouched and examined the baby. Tiny fingers curled around the edge of its visor. The child's eyes blinked open, wide and alert, sensing the presence of someone who would protect them. Inside the ruined streets, Mira stumbled upon a small clue. A toy, half buried in ash, something she had made for her baby long ago. Her heart skipped a beat. Could it be real? Could someone kind have found the child? She picked it up, holding it close, tears spilling freely. The figure watched from above, noting her reaction. Mira's hope was fragile, almost invisible, but it existed. The mission was more than survival, now it was a careful dance of guidance. She needed to find the child, but she could not know who was helping. Not yet. Night fell heavier, darkness pressing down like a living thing. Mira's footsteps slowed. Exhaustion weighed on her, and yet she pressed forward, drawn by an unexplainable pull, a feeling that she could not name. The figure moved again, using the shadows to cover its path. Every step was measured, every move precise. It left small, almost invisible markers, tiny scratches, faint glows, symbols only a mother might notice. Clues for Mira without her knowing it, without her seeing who was guiding her. And then, from a distant street, a strange sound echoed, a faint hum, almost musical, vibrating in the air. Mira stopped, her heart raced. She turned toward it, unsure if it was danger or hope. Somewhere in the darkness, the baby stirred. Tiny fingers grasped at the glowing cradle, sensing the world around them. The night held its breath. Mira did not yet know the child lived. She did not yet know that someone was watching, guarding her steps. But the search had begun. The invisible thread between mother and child stretched tighter, pulsing with life, hope, and an unbreakable connection. Somewhere in the ruins, a promise waited to be fulfilled. The ruins of the city had grown colder, darker. Shadows stretched long across the cracked streets, swallowing everything in their path. Mira walked cautiously, her boots crunching over broken glass and ash. Her heart ached with emptiness, yet a tiny spark of hope flickered inside her. She did not know it, but someone or something was guiding her, leaving small signs for her to follow. Above her, the figure moved silently on the rooftops, the baby safe in the glowing cradle strapped to its chest. Its sensors hummed softly, scanning for danger, and danger was coming. Something far older, far crueler than the scavengers or stray drones of the streets. A distant sound echoed through the empty streets. It was not the wind, nor the faint cry of animals hidden in the ruins. The sound had purpose, precision. Metal clanged against stone, followed by a low, mechanical growl. Shadows began to shift, forming shapes that were both human and not. Limbs moved unnaturally, eyes glowed red. The threat had arrived. The figure paused, crouching behind a broken wall. Its visor lit up, scanning the approaching shapes. These were not ordinary scavengers, They were augmented humans, part machine, part predator. Their leader, taller than the rest, stepped forward, armor clinking with each move. Its eyes locked on something invisible to Myra below. The baby Mira, unaware of the danger above, picked her way carefully through the rubble. Her fingers brushed a broken toy, one of the clues left by the figure. Hope surged in her chest, but it was fragile. She could not see the mechanical predators closing in. She could not see the invisible guardian carrying her child, calculating every move, every escape route. The predators advanced, their steps precise, their sensors searching. The figure adjusted its grip on the baby, activating a soft pulse from the cradle. A gentle light filled the area, invisible to human eyes, but confusing the predator's sensors. They hesitated, momentarily disoriented. The figure took advantage of the pause, moving closer to a narrow alley. A shortcut only it could see. Mira stopped at the mouth of the alley, sensing danger but not understanding why. Her heart beat faster. She felt a presence threatening, heavy, almost alive. She glanced up and saw a shadow move unnaturally across the rooftop. Her breath caught. Was it hope or fear? The figure reached the alley safely, its movements silent and precise. The baby stirred, sensing tension. The figure whispered softly, almost to itself, "Not yet, little one." The predators were close, but they did not know the guardian's full power. Every step, every motion, was calculated to protect the child, to outsmart the hunters who thought they had control over the ruins. A sudden screech of metal against metal filled the alley behind the figure. One predator had detected them. It lunged, but the figure's visor glowed brightly. A pulse of energy shot out, not enough to harm Myra, but enough to disorient the machine-human predator. It stumbled, giving the figure a small advantage. Myra felt it then, a sudden urge to run. Fear surged, but so did determination. She clutched the broken toy tighter, following the invisible thread of guidance. Somewhere ahead, her child waited. Alive. She did not know how. She did not know who was protecting them, but the pull was undeniable. The predator recovered, eyes glowing brighter, sensing the guardian's presence. The figure moved faster, ducking through shadows, weaving between collapsed walls. The baby's tiny hands gripped the glowing cradle, instinctively knowing safety. The city seemed to hold its breath. Every step, every heartbeat, every shadow carried tension. The threat was closing in, relentless, intelligent, dangerous. Yet in the heart of the ruins, one promise remained unbroken. The baby would survive, and the mother would find them, if only she could follow the thread of hope. Somewhere in the darkness, a battle was beginning, and the night was far from over. The dawn was pale and gray, seeping slowly over the ruins like spilled milk. Myra moved through the streets, her steps careful but determined. She could feel the weight of the city's emptiness pressing down on her, yet a tiny thread of hope pulled her forward. The toy she had found yesterday still rested in her hand, worn and dirty, but it was a sign. Something told her it was a beginning, not an end. Above, the guardian watched silently. The baby slept safely in the glowing cradle, the soft hum of its life support system blending with the sounds of the crumbling city. The mechanical predators had not given up. They prowled the ruins, scanning for any sign of movement, any hint of life that did not belong to the darkness. The guardian's sensors flickered with warnings, but for now, Myra had not yet crossed paths with danger. Myra's eyes caught a glimmer in the rubble, a small folded piece of cloth. She picked it up carefully. It was her child's blanket, the one she had buried long ago. Her hands trembled. Could it be real? She ran her fingers over the soft fabric, tracing the pattern she remembered so well. It smelled faintly of earth and ash, but beneath that, there was something else. Hope. Guardian noticed her pause. It hovered above, calculating whether to reveal itself or remain hidden. The predators were still near, their sensors flickering intermittently. Every movement had to be precise. The baby stirred, sensing tension in the air. The guardian adjusted its grip, whispering softly in a language unknown to Mira, yet somehow soothing to the child. Mira followed the faint trail of signs. Small scratches on walls, pieces of broken glass arranged oddly, a faint glowing mark only visible in the dim morning light. Each clue was subtle, almost invisible to anyone not paying close attention, but Mira's heart guided her. She did not know who had left them, only that someone had. Someone was helping. The air felt heavier as she approached a narrow street. Walls leaning precariously on each other. She sensed movement behind a pile of rubble. Her breath caught. Was it a predator? Or was it hope finally stepping into her path? She crouched, holding the blanket close, and peeked around the corner. A shadow flickered across the street. Mira gasped. It was small, moving carefully, almost unnaturally. She followed it cautiously, heart pounding in her chest. The clues became more frequent here. Tiny handprints etched in dust, faint glows on broken bricks, and the soft hum that seemed to vibrate through the air itself. Somewhere above, the guardian watched. Its sensors noted Mira's progress. It had left these subtle signs, guiding her safely, keeping her on the path to the child. The predators were still near, but the guardian's interference had slowed them, buying time. Every step Mira took was measured, directed, protected by a force she could not see. Mira reached a collapsed building. The entrance was dark and narrow, but a soft glow emanated from inside. Her heart leapt. Could this be the end of the search? Could this finally be the place where she would find her child alive? She stepped inside slowly, holding the blanket. Close, every sense alert. Inside, the floor was scattered with dust and debris. Yet something was different. The air felt alive, charged with energy. Tiny sparks flickered across the walls, as if the building itself was trying to speak. Mira knelt, following the faintest glow on the ground, and her fingers brushed against something warm and soft. Her heart stopped. The baby stirred, opening wide, bright eyes. A tiny hand reached for her. Mira froze, tears streaming down her face. She could not believe it. After all the darkness, the despair, the grief, her child was here, alive. And somewhere in the shadows above, the guardian observed silently. Its mission was far from over, but for now, hope had found its way. The clue had led Mira closer than ever, and the thread connecting mother and child pulsed stronger than before. The predators were still out there. Danger still lingered, but Mira had found her first real sign that survival, love, and hope were not lost. The city was quiet now, but it was a quiet that felt dangerous. Shadows moved in places Mira could not see, and the wind carried whispers that made her shiver. She clutched the small blanket to her chest, her fingers trembling. Every instinct told her to run, but another, stronger instinct pulled her forward, the hope that her child was still alive. Above, the guardian moved with careful precision. The baby slept in the glowing cradle, protected from the predators that lurked in the ruins below. Every step, every movement was calculated. The mission was almost complete, but there was still danger. The predators had not given up, and the guardian knew that the final moments of reunion could be the hardest. Mira followed the faint trail of signs, left by the guardian's small scratches on walls, glowing marks hidden in the shadows, and even the soft hum of energy from the cradle that only she seemed to sense. Her heart beat faster with each step. She could feel the invisible thread connecting her to her child growing stronger, pulling her toward the hidden place where safety waited. The guardian paused near a collapsed bridge, scanning the streets. Ahead, the predators were closing in, moving faster now, their mechanical limbs clicking against rubble. They had detected something vital. The guardian adjusted the baby in its arms, activating a soft shield of energy that shimmered invisibly, protecting them both. The thread of hope was fragile, but it would hold. Mira entered a narrow alley, her eyes searching. The air was heavy, charged with anticipation. She felt it, the closeness of her child. Her heart ached and swelled at the same time. The faint glow on the ground caught her attention, leading her deeper into the ruins. She didn't know who had left these signs, only that someone had. Someone was guiding her. The guardian moved above her, unseen, whispering softly in the child's direction. The baby stirred, sensing the presence of the mother nearby. Tiny fingers reached out instinctively, the glow of the cradle responding to the child's touch. A small pulse of energy lit the alley briefly, marking the path for Mira. The predator's senses were disrupted again, slowed just enough to give them time. Mira's steps quickened as she entered an open courtyard. Rubble formed natural barriers, and she noticed strange markings on the wall, symbols she had never seen but somehow understood. They seemed to say, "Keep moving, you are close." Her chest tightened with a mixture of fear and hope. Every shadow could hide danger, but she could no longer turn back. Suddenly, a low metallic growl echoed through the courtyard. Mira froze. From the shadows, a predator emerged, its glowing red eyes scanning for the guardian and child. She gasped, fear gripping her heart. The guardian activated a pulse from above, invisible but effective, forcing the predator to stumble. Mira didn't see the protector, only felt the strange reassurance that someone or something was keeping her safe. The baby stirred again, cooing softly. The guardian descended slightly, positioning itself above the child to monitor both mother and threat. Mira's eyes widened as she noticed a faint glow in the rubble ahead, a soft, comforting light. It pulsed rhythmically, almost like a heartbeat, guiding her. Her pace quickened. She could feel it now, unmistakable, the presence of life, of her child, waiting. Fear and hope battled inside her, but the pull was irresistible. She knew she was close. Above, the guardian prepared for the final move. The predators were near, but the path was ready. Every clue, every sign, every small miracle had led to this moment. The reunion was not just possible, it was inevitable. Mira stepped forward into the glow, her heart pounded. Her child was close. The city held its breath, the ruins silent witnesses to the fragile, unbreakable bond that was about to be restored. The final steps had begun. The courtyard was quiet, but the air felt alive. Mira's breath came in quick, shallow gasps. Her hands clutched the small blanket, but she did not need it anymore. Something pulled her forward, something stronger than fear, stronger than grief. Her child was close. She could feel it in every heartbeat. Above her, the guardian hovered silently. The baby slept in the glowing cradle strapped to its chest, small fingers curling around the soft light. Sensors scanned the ruins, watching for predators, for danger, for anything that might stop this moment from arriving. The night had been long, but hope had survived, invisible and unwavering. Mira stepped carefully over broken stones, following the soft pulse of light ahead. Each step felt heavier, yet lighter at the same time. She did not know how she knew, but she knew. The child was here, alive, waiting. Suddenly, a metallic growl echoed from the shadows. One of the mechanical predators had spotted movement. Its red eyes glowed, reflecting rage and calculation. Mira froze, panic tightening her chest. But then, from above, the guardian acted. A pulse of energy flashed through the alley, invisible to her eyes, but enough to force the predator back. It stumbled, its sensors scrambled. Safety remained for now. Mira's legs shook, but she kept moving. The glow in the rubble grew brighter, pulsing like a heartbeat. Her child's soft coos reached her ears, faint but unmistakable. Tears filled her eyes. She had survived the impossible, followed invisible signs, and now she was here. Then she saw them, the small glowing cradle, hovering just above the ground. And the baby, tiny and fragile, yet full of life, reaching toward her instinctively. Mira dropped to her knees, unable to contain her emotions. She stretched out her arms, whispering, "I'm here. I'm here, my love." The baby's tiny hands grasped at her, and Mira held the child close. Heat and life rushed into her chest as she pressed her face to the small, soft body. Every tear she had shed, every night spent in despair, every moment of fear seemed to vanish in the strength of this single embrace. Above them, the Guardian hovered silently, sensors dimming. Its mission was complete, but its presence remained watchful, protective. Mira looked up, seeing a flicker of movement in the shadows. She did not need to understand it fully. She felt the connection, the silent promise of protection that had guided her through the ruins. The baby cooed again, eyes wide and bright. Mira smiled through tears, rocking the child gently. She whispered promises she had longed to say for months, words of love, of life, of hope. The courtyard, once silent and empty, now seemed to hum with energy, as if the city itself was acknowledging this moment. Then, a shadow moved at the edge of the courtyard. One last predator, small and quick, crept closer. Mira froze, but the Guardian reacted instantly. A soft pulse of light flashed, and the predator faltered, unable to advance. Mira did not need to see it. She only needed to feel the safety surrounding her. The baby wriggled happily in her arms, sensing warmth, protection, and love. Mira whispered again, "You are safe. You are mine. And I will never let you go." The Guardian descended slightly, allowing them to remain together. A bond had been restored, fragile yet unbreakable. The sun began to rise over the ruins, casting pale light across the city. Mira held her child close, tears still streaming, yet a smile breaking through. She had survived. Her baby had survived. And together, they would face the world ahead, somewhere in the shadows. The Guardian watched one last time, then melted into the light, leaving the mother and child to their new beginning. The city was still broken, the dangers still present. But for the first time in long months, hope had a place to live. The reunion was complete.